30,000 people are watching from different countries. We have Ghana, said, we have Rwanda, Kenya, Benin Republic, you know. This is the power of digital.
The world is moving so fast, looking like it is leaving Africans behind. And all over the continent, Africans are doing amazing stuff. We're tired of principles that don't work. We're tired of motivation that don't work. We just want to know the truth. It is time for Africans to go global.
My name is Kitan. Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? It's your boy DJG.
It's great to have everybody online today since of August 2019, the day we all have been waiting for. Global Human Series Volume 1. We had registrations over 10,000. Registrations just kept pouring in from different parts of the world, different parts of the continent. People are even watching from London, from Dallas. We have people from Germany watching in. We had registrations from Uganda, Kenya, Accra, Ghana. It's amazing. Republic of Benin. And then, of course, Nigeria tells us about the energy that is in Africa, the energy that resides in the average African youth. There's so much energy on this continent. Everybody doing amazing stuff and wanting to be that global person, wanting to show that skill, that energy, that business on a global level, get global funding and, you know, access some global opportunities. My name is Kitan David, and then I work at 115 Garage. My day job is to get amazing tech talents and dev and place them on jobs with global corporations, and they get paid as high as $30,000, even to $100,000 annually. In Nigeria, we have devs going on with 400,000 naira per week. That is a little above $1,200. I volunteered for Nokia Research Center West Africa in 2013, and my job was to move across universities and tertiary institutions in Anglophone and Francophone West Africa, and I've spoken to as well as over 200,000 youths, telling them about that which they do and how they could scale it up to eat the world, to solve all the problems, because entrepreneurship and your career is all about value. What value are you bringing to the table? What problem are you solving? And teaching them to do this in an effective way on a global scale. So I also run Kitan David Consulting, which is the official arm of Global Human Series. We have offices out of the United States and out of Europe. And what we do is get young Africans to sell that which they do, to sell themselves globally, connect them to global opportunities, and also get global firms to invest in Africa. That's what we do at Kitan David Consulting. And this video, this webcast right now, is just part of it. So why global? In my many travels across borders, especially my volunteer career, I have seen that there is a way that other continents approach solutions, and there is a way Africa approach solutions. Yes, we need to fight that survival first. If I start thinking of the world, if I start thinking of everybody, I need to be satisfied myself. But I see the energy that resides here. I see the energy that is inside of Africa, and then I see that this energy, if well harnessed, if it is well channeled, we could do something amazing. We could contribute that which we know and everything that we do to what is happening globally. Now, the first thing about being a global human, it's your environment, right? There's a way your environment affects your mind. The reason why you speak English and Swahili right now is probably because you were born and you grew up in Nairobi. The reason why you speak Yoruba or Hausa is because you grew up in Nigeria. If you grew up in Ghana, you might be speaking Twi because you'll probably be from the Ashantis. So if the mind and the environment is what affects me, we could hack that mind for global relevance. And that is what this video is about. That's what this webcast is about. Join me, and then I take you through different outline points to scale what you do to the global stage. And in a few months down the line, in a few years down the line, there will be so much testimonies, there will be so much joy and international exposure from what we do. Now, this is Africa. When you are going to somewhere, you have to know the point at which you are. So I'm moving from point A to point B, and it's the path that we want to discuss. So where are we right now in Africa? Nigeria and South Africa's GDP is almost half of the GDP of the whole continent. That tells us that these are like the biggest economies in Africa right now. Now, also in the whole of Africa, Botswana and Swaziland are the only ones that export more than they import. There is a joke we say back here in Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest producer of tomatoes in the world, and we are also the largest importer of tomato paste. Isn't that mind-boggling, right? Chinese, UAE, and Italian firms are the top 3 investors in Africa. Africa as a continent also invests less in the rest of the world. We are one of the continents that receives more than it gives, and that's not totally good. Now, that being said, this same Africa has the largest number of entrepreneurs in the world. That tells us about the energy that resides in the body, in the mind, in the soul of an average African. I had a conversation with a friend the other day, Adeyinka Igbatayo, we call him Content God, works at CSI Red Carpet, doing a lot of good work around events. And we talked about how in Africa it seems we are just taking one collective nap. The rest of the world is moving fast and they're leaving Africa behind. Not because they want to leave Africa behind, but because a lot of Africans are not jumping on the trend, they're not jumping on what's next. So it looks like we are taking a collective nap. We are sleeping in group. That's like the joke. We are holding hands and we're joining hands and say, let us sleep. And we're sleeping on so many things. From the first to the fourth industrial revolution, Africa had not really partook in it because we consume the products that are being made from all this revolution. And we are in the world of artificial intelligence right now. We have semi-autonomous vehicles. We have fridge that tells you when the product in the fridge is expiring. We have air conditioners, ubiquitous computing, that when I'm in my office and my air conditioner is on and I sneeze 3 times, on the 3rd time it increases or reduces or even totally goes off. So this are things that is happening in the world right now, and AI is the last of many opportunities, though, I would say, for Africa to jump on a global trend. There is a video with myself and Shola Muson, the founder of Coven Works around artificial intelligence. The link is popping up on your screen right now. That's a bonus video for you for joining into this webcast. And if you're a student or a career person, you don't actually fit, you don't know where you fit in, and you want to be relevant in the next few years, that video is obviously something you could kickstart on. You could start a career in data science, in machine learning, in artificial intelligence, automation, nanotechnology, because all the jobs you see today, I work at CDev too, and then we go to talk to kids around Africa. I've spoken personally, I've interviewed personally over 1,500 kids. We've reached out to over 8,000 kids in our network. And these kids want to be doctors, they want to be engineers, they want to be a lot of amazing things. And we tell them, we say, see, look, it is good to be a doctor, but you are 5 years of age right now. The time you're old enough to practice medicine, the way medicine is practiced today is not the way medicine will be practiced when you're 25 years of age. So it is always good to kickstart a career in the next trend, which is one of the things we will be discussing today at Global Human Series. Now, for a content to be pure, the source has to be pure. Now, for you to start any initiative, movement, business, advocacy, a career path, and you want to put that global source in it, you have to be a global human. You have to think globally. You have to hack your mind, like we say, to global relevance. Now, the first thing is to follow the trends. Now, there's a lot of research. You're an artist, you're a model, you're a makeup artist, you're a banker, you're a programmer, you're into fashion. There's a trend globally, and you have to follow that trend in your field. The question you need to ask yourself every time is, when you start something, so let's say your name is John and you're 23 years of age, and you are into fashion design, for example, you ask yourself, the 23-year-old Japanese, how is he going to approach this? Even though you're starting small, if you live in Japan right now, you're Japanese, and you have the exact resources that you have right now, and you're about to start it, what are the things you will do? If you live on the street of New York, if you're from Philadelphia, how are you going to do this? If you're from the UK, how are you going to do this? If you live in Europe, how are you going to do this? And how do you know all of that? Simple research. There's somebody in your exact shoes right now, in your exact trade, doing that same thing across the 5 to 7 continents that exist. So you need to ask yourself these questions. Don't just say, I believe I want to do this like this. That's like the lie we tell ourselves. You just say, I feel like doing this. You don't always feel like doing this. The reason why you feel like doing that is because you know about it. You can never feel something you don't know. So expand your knowledge base. Ask yourself around different races, different continents in and outside Africa. If you're a Nigerian trying to do fashion design, ask yourself if you're Kenyan, how will you do it? Now, by the time you've taken all this knowledge base, you will be able to expand, and then your mind will be big enough to approach it, right? And when you approach it, you'll be able to put that African sauce. Now, the perfect example I like to give is that of a music artist. You record a song and you're about to sell your song. You need to ask yourself, if you recorded this song as a British citizen, how would you sell it? If you recorded this song in the studio with Rock Nation of Jay-Z, how are you going to sell it? Would you actually make CDs and go to malls and parks and start sharing your CDs? Or you actually open an account on Deezer and iTunes, Spotify, AudioMac, a whole lot of different music sharing platforms, and sell it through that platform? There is definitely a global mind to whatever you are going to do. As a model, everybody needs to learn that journey to stardom. You want to walk the wrong way at Switzerland. You want to one day be on stage contesting for the Miss World. You need to learn what that Switzerland upcoming model is doing right now. The model in Egypt, what is he doing? What are the things they are reading? What kind of events are they attending? How are they telling their stories online? And that leads me to brand identity. When I speak to young people, entrepreneurs, career people, they tell me about their logo and how their logo is their brand. A lot of people actually make this mistake, and friends at Fort Canvas will tell you that there's a big difference between a logo and a brand. And for the career people, they say, I don't need a logo, I'm just a footballer. There's a way Cristiano Ronaldo celebrates when he scores. That is actually a brand identity. Now you have to put that global source in it. Here we're always an African, Nigerian, Kenyan, Ghanaian touch. But then you have to understand that this is your brand, this is your identity, this is the kind of people you appeal to. Now, what are the things you read? What are the things you feed your information with? Are you on Mashable? Do you know about Crunchbase? Do you read about startups? Do you know about Zomalo.com? Do you know about TechPoint? Do you know about Flipboard? Do you have Flipboard on your phone? Do you write posts on Medium so that everybody that sees you could perceive a knowledge base in your domain expertise? Do you know all of this? You need to follow a global trend. And for students, I've talked to a lot of students, spoken to a lot of students across the continent. An average African student doesn't know what SurveyMonkey is, cannot successfully create an online form, cannot do data analysis, do not know online tools that exist that they can deploy, free tools, artificial intelligence-based tools that can help your business or the other. You have to expand your mind. You have to read. First stage, take yourself out of your environment. You have smartphones. A lot of us are watching this webcast right now through your smartphone or your personal computer. You could access almost any info in the world with this device. Don't just all get locked up in your space. Always know that there are a million ways to do that thing that you're exactly doing right now. And you have to accept. I mean, the only book in Christianity will teach that the first stage to believing in God is acknowledging that you're a sinner and repenting your sins. You have to acknowledge that what you receive today, where you are today, is an exact result of everything that has happened to you up until this time. So you want to change that. You want to change your narrative. You want to change your approach. You want to change how you do things so that the results can be a little bit different. If you do things the way you've been doing them before, you keep getting the same results. Miracles don't happen all the time, right? So you have to act this mind. Like I always say, I can't overemphasize that. You have to act this mind. You have to get out of this environment, navigate through the pages on the internet and understand, watch a lot of videos around your skill, around your business, and understand that people are doing this exact same thing and getting amazing results. And if you do it like they are doing it, you will get almost the same result, if not exact. Now, there's a lot of movies and videos and seminars around dropshipping, but Africans have not even harnessed the fact that you could sell that which you do to a global market. You could put that product, that bag that you're making with an African touch, you could sell it on platforms online that allows you to sell. And then logistics company exists. There's DHL, there's FedEx that could help you get your product down to anywhere in the world. A lot of foreigners will buy that bag. They will buy mats for yoga. The same mats that does not have value here in Africa. If you begin to sell it online and you target the United States, you target England, United Kingdom, you are going to sell mats for yoga with an African touch. But how will you even sell mats for yoga when you don't understand yoga? Oh, yoga is not my thing. Yoga, it doesn't have to be your thing. You have to understand what the current mats for yoga is made of. How does it affect them when they sit on it, when they stand on it, when they lie on it? What's the feeling they get? It's not every time buy from China. You can also sell to the rest of the world, and all you need is the internet. In volume 2, I have 2 packages for people that will be joining me. I'll be exposing you to career path that you could start now, and in the next 20, 30 years, you're still on your path to global relevance. By 2030, a lot of jobs will disappear, cashiers will disappear, bank tellers will disappear, textile workers will disappear. A lot of jobs in the sports industry will disappear. A lot of things that guys are making cool cash from right now, and you think they're like the happening guys, all these jobs are going to disappear. In another 5 years, over 5 million jobs will be gone. But are we going to be scared? Are we going to say these technological advances are creating unemployment? No, they're creating re-employment, because by 2040, 2050, over 65 million new jobs will be created. So definitely you want to be on that career path, like you are sure that in another 10 years, you're making a living from, you're able to do other things and invest in other things. That is what I currently do. I get people jobs as high as $30,000. So I will be introducing you to career paths that in few years, you could make $30,000 and above from. That is package 1. Package 2, for those that are running businesses, I would be teaching the right positioning for you to get funds for your businesses, be it local funds, be it international funds. What are the background things you need to do in your business? A lot of us want funding, a lot of us want more money to expand our business, but we've not even gotten things right. We don't have the right visibility, we don't have the right financial structure, we don't have the right board management. How do we do all of these things and get that structure for international funding? So 2 packages, one for the career people to earn above $30,000, and it's not just about the money, it's about the relevance, the fact that from 25 to 30 years from now, whatever you start doing today will still be globally relevant. Everything you're thinking in this part of the world now that you want to become, a lot of them will either be changed, that is, the way they do them is changed, or they're totally gone into extinction with the invention of artificial intelligence, robots, and machines. That's package 1. Package 2 is for the entrepreneurs. How do you position your business for funding? How do you position your business for global visibility? Volume 2 is happening September 5. And for these 2 packages, it goes for 18,000 naira if you register before the 30th of August. So if you're registering, the link is right now on the video. The link is on your screen right now. If you're registering before 30th of August, you get both packages for 18,000 naira. If you're registering after 30th of August, that's before September 5, you are going to get the packages for 25,000 naira. And then if you want the playback, that is actually a different amount that we're going to sell the playback. I am not sure if the playback will be ready, but I mean, my team will tell me that. So these are things we need. Yes, in Africa, we have to fight survival first. We have to fight the fact that I need to eat, but it's not always about the money. The money is essential, don't get me wrong. Money is very essential to life, but it's not about the money. It's about how relevant that thing you are doing is. Now, when Apollo landed on the moon, it is not just the joy of Neil Armstrong landing on the moon. It is the joy of everybody that has written the codes one way or the other. The lady that was serving the coffee for those that were building the machine that took Neil Armstrong to the moon. So that is relevance, and that gives us joy. You know, they say when you have money, then you find out that money was never the problem in the first place. So for Africans, we're talking about global relevance. We're talking about the fact that when we are pointing to that big invention in the world, we say these Africans were part of them. This and this were part of them. And when you also look at their lives, they're financially buoyant. They're very okay. Their kids drive the best of cars. They live in the best of houses. I'll be teaching that in volume 2, career path to go on and positioning for your business. The African mind is definitely not lesser than any other mind in the world. I mean, in those days, our forefathers, when they captured their kings, they sent messages in artworks. Just a piece of an artwork, very small, they sent messages to the kings that the kings had to decode, writing out, and they would write hundreds of pages just from an artwork. How do you embed? I mean, they're like the king of cybersecurity, the king of teleportation, and all of that. So you could be the next top model, you could be the artist. There's no embargo in Africa. There's no bad blood. It is about value. If you do it the way it's supposed to be done, we have people getting a lot of funding right now. We have people doing well in the movie industry, in the entertainment industry. We have people doing well in the fashion industry. Why don't we have an African Gucci? Why don't we have an African Versace? It's because these guys that do these things are not doing it the way they are supposed to do it. And one step at a time, we are all going to learn that, and we are going to be that global human. Always remember, it is time for Africa to go global, and you need to join that train. Thank you, Kitan David. See you in volume 2.